Okay, who knows who? That's the way you get things done, whoever knows somebody. God forbid, the day I ever see a car wash come into this town, there's going to be more trouble. You excuse me a minute? Sure. On your merry way.
The Night Owl Show, Fridays at midnight on Channel 6.
Sure. Gas station has been here for about 24 years. The original plans for the gas station, when the station was built, was listed as my end bay over there as a car wash. The gratings are in the floor for a car wash, okay? Everything here belongs a car wash, okay? But instead of putting it there, I want it in the back, okay? I could wash cars now, and nobody could stop me. I could let the water run right down 212 and ice up in this weather. Okay, have cars sliding all over the place here. Okay, nobody can stop me from doing it, but they want to stop me from doing it legally.
14 years I've lived here. 14 years in 10 different businesses. And I guess our real story is we're now once again going to tell the retail businessman story against the town planning board.
You're here 14 years.
Right.
Can you recall offhand about how many businesses you thought left this town because of problems with the planning and zoning board, just from the top of your head?
I would probably say that you could go back into the town of Woodstock and either by forced location or by happening to leave because you couldn't meet your needs. I would say you could easily say there's maybe 10 businesses, I would say, or maybe more, but I could think probably off the top of my head at least 10 businesses that because of the way the planning board restricted them in their growth or their possibility of growth, they've left the town. There are probably 5 businesses that are right off the top of your head when you think of Kevin Sweeney with Simulates, who can't expand because of our zoning laws, is moving to Saugerties. Rotron, who has been the biggest employer in our community in the 14 years that I've been here, and they've been here much longer than that, have gone to Saugerties and relocated because they couldn't find any expansion room and the town did not want to bend to their needs. They've left. You've got Bob at the golf station in town who fought for a car wash with this, which I really feel this community needs and could have supported very easily. Has now sold his entire business and moving out of town, bringing in a franchise business, which everybody, says, well, we don't want to see McDonald's and we don't want to see Colonel Sanders and those type of franchises in the town, and yet we're going to have a Cumberland Farm, which is another grocery store on the main street, right across between 2 other major grocery stores, with a cheap 24-hour-a-day gas. I think any problem that Bob might have created with a traffic control at a car wash, because most people were thinking of a Saturday afternoon in a plaza in Kingston where you have maybe a line of 5 or 10 cars waiting to get their car washed. They were visualizing this on the main street of Woodstock. Well, I want to see their expressions on a Friday night when people pull into Cumberland Farms on 212 to get their cheap load of gas, and you've got a load of cars from 375 all the way up to the golf station. And I think that's going to happen. And you take the Millstream Motel. They fought the town for years, to the point that it might have even put Saul Rappaport into a grave a little bit earlier than he wanted to be there.
My family purchased the Millstream Motel years, well, let me see, it was 1963, so it was before the zoning ordinance. The motel had been there since 1947. My father, who was sickly at the time, purchased the motel. It was a losing proposition. It was losing $2,000-3,000 a year. And he immediately built a small restaurant, updated the rooms as much as he could. He put every nickel he had into that place. We reached a point where we knew Woodstock very badly needed an updated not an updated, a modern motel facility. So we approached the Small Business Administration through the Kingston Trust Bank, and we were approved for a $200,000 loan. My personal assets and my father's personal assets, with all those together, we would have been able to build a very beautiful motel. Very quiet, very sedate, hidden in our own woods, without despoiling the streams, without despoiling the trees. We were going to eliminate the old monstrosity motel that was sitting there.
How many acres was that property?
We had I'm not positive, 3.78 acres, of which we were using less than a third. And we planned on eliminating the existing motel, which would have really brought us under specs. My father hired, I was in Canada doing some design work at the time. My father hired an architect to come in, draw up plans. He hired a contractor. The town assured him that there would be no difficulty in securing permission to put this motel up. Well, a month turned into 2 months, turned into 5 months, turned into 12 months, turned into 18 months. The SBA said if we didn't take the money after about the 8th or the 9th month that they would consider our application invalid. We'd have to apply again. By the way, it takes 6 months to a year to get approval on an SBA loan. We had some 30-odd meetings with the town during that period of time, where they brought up objections like, will there be enough parking? So we showed them where there would be enough for 5 cars for every room we had. Well, maybe you could make pathways, lit pathways between the buildings in the woods. And we said, well, maybe we can. We were planning something else, but sure, we'll do that. Every time we went, it was something else, a change. We expended $30,000 during that period of time on an architect and a designer. The contractor, who required a percentage down to begin with, we gave him that percentage. And of course, by the time the town got around to having all the meetings, and by the time we went back 30-odd times, we had lost our down payment with the contractor.
And each time that you get turned down from the board where you have to draw up new plans, you have to pay an architect all over again.
Exactly.
For a complete new plan, not just to update the plan you have. It
That's
has to
right.
make a completely new
$30,000 we spent on that,
in architects.
in architects. The final blow was my father went for the very last time. He was very despondent during this period. We felt like criminals. We were trying to do something that Woodstock needed, and we really felt like criminals. We were treated so poorly. We were treated so off the cuff, like, hey, that's your business, it's your problem, you bought it, it's, don't come to us looking for. That was the attitude. Now these people were working for us. As peculiar as that may seem, these people were working for us. Well, the final time that we went, one of the board members said, gee, I don't know, I think that one building will cast a shadow on the next building. I don't think no, unless you show us revised plans where the building won't cast a shadow on the other buildings, then I can't see where I can My father went berserk. He went absolutely wild. He was ranting and raving. He grabbed the plans, he tore them up, he threw them on the desk. He left and had a heart attack that night. That was the first of 10 heart attacks that my father had. Woodstock's inane attitude towards business people cost my family, my father's life. And that's the bottom line.
I was under the impression, too, an architect, that a building has to have walls on it, like a carport that you put next to your house. You don't need permits or building permits for that because it's not considered a building unless it has walls. Now, you have no walls on this bandstand. What is their reasoning for not letting you have that there? It just doesn't seem to make sense.
When I first bought this property, there was a platform around the telephone pole that now that bandstand sits in front of. I agree that I kind of stretched the law a little bit, interpreted it in my own way, by tearing down the old structure and creating a new structure of the same square footage, but I did it for my advantage instead of for the advantage that it was there before. If I tore it down and rebuilt a new structure around the telephone pole, I would have been within my rights. But because I tore it down and moved it in front of the telephone pole and made it for something I could use later on, I was illegal. And the fact that I never got a building permit for something that nobody's going to live in, it's used 2 months out of the year, probably eight times in an entire year. Somebody uses that bandstand. But again, that's how they interpret it.
What I did decide to do at this point was now to sell a business. I don't want a business in this town. If I can't build it up, I want to leave it to my son. And now I have nothing. So, and now he has nothing. So I felt to make it better for other businesses in the town, if they ever want to pursue something, that the zoning laws should be changed in the town. They should sit down and be for the people, bring business into town. So the only thing I can do now in return is bring them to court, each individual member of the zoning board who turned me down, and the town board members who did appeal the decision.